Zoran Antolović. His topic is software is like a suit. I'm very keen on listening to what's the analogy. After that, we're going to go for a break and closing keynote and the party. So here we go.
Okay, hi. So it's really hard to talk on an enterprise conference and to talk about the custom solutions. It's like going on a vegetarian conference and talk about the barbecue. But I'll do my best, I'll try. Hi everyone, my name is Zoran. I'm an independent custom solution software expert. I'm currently working with a company called Untitled. It's a company with a lot of Navy SEALs in the mobile development, native mobile development. And you may ask yourself, why am I, as a web person, working with a mobile company? I'll get to it a little bit later. I'm also one of the organizers of ZGPHP, the largest community user group in Zagreb, and also one of the organizers of WebCamp Zagreb, community organized conference here in Zagreb. I'd like to talk about several chapters. First one is custom solutions. When I say custom solutions, what do you think about? It can be custom software solution, but there are a lot of different custom solutions. One example is also house. And when you are in doubt if you are going to buy a house or build one that matches your needs perfectly, what are you going to choose? Or maybe if you think about just switching the interior, maybe kitchen, are you going to rent or hire a carpenter to build a perfectly fit kitchen or use IKEA furniture? The answer is always, it depends. And my slides are a little bit off. I'll just try to do a quick fix. Okay, it should be better now. It depends also, always depends on what are you going to do. If you are buying a house that you are going to rent on the seaside and make it your business, you are probably not going to start from scratch. You will buy something that is cheap, refurbish it, and get back to the slide you're talking about. Yeah, and if you are buying an apartment, you'll probably decide if this is the apartment you're going to settle in for the rest of your life. And you know, it's the same with software. It depends. It depends on the needs, on the requirements, and of course on the team. Because building a high quality software is hard. It is the same with any custom solutions. Being an expert, currently a carpenter or a mechanic for the cars, it's really hard to be a good one. I have an example here. It's a Pelješac bridge. You all may know about it. Currently, we are, as much I'm informed, we are in the third phase, third attempt to build a bridge. Apart from the, the political stuff, let's just talk about the tech. We are now having this Chinese company that is contractor on the project, and the first step of building a Pelješac bridge is to remain anything that was placed in the phase 2, in the second attempt. It's like a developer is managing, okay, we need to rewrite this from scratch, we need to start over. They couldn't continue working because the requirements are different now. The technology the vendor is using is different. And when we are talking about the enterprise software, there is this definition by Wikipedia that enterprise software is software used to satisfy the need of organization, not individual user. And when you take a look at who are the average users of software, it's like governments, corporations, schools, and yeah, we can all agree that they are using high quality software, especially government. We can agree on that, yeah? Tough audience, no feedback, never mind. Okay, and when we then can compare the enterprise software versus consumer apps, what's the main difference? I have identified one main reason why I think that enterprise software has a little bit bad UI. That is because end user cannot decide to switch. If you are working for a government and the government and your boss decides to implement this solution, you have no choice. But when you are deciding whether to use WhatsApp, Viber, Messenger, Skype, you can decide. You are choosing because you are choosing what really satisfies your needs. Enterprise software or enterprise resource planning software is covering whole set of needs for an organization. And that's cool, but there is no silver bullet. some of these functions or segments of a company has to suffer. Will it be HR? Maybe. Accounting? Probably not, because accounting is more important. And I can show you it in this way. Basically, we have two companies. They have all their requirements. They can be in the same industry, but they don't have to. They can be closer to each other with these requirements, but they have their special requirements, you know, the unmatched area. And they can vary in size. There can be one smaller company that is like 90% required, that has 90% requirements the same as bigger company. You can compare any e-commerce to the eBay, and requirements are somehow the same. And then we have the software, this red circle, that is actually like supporting these activities. In most cases, this is like this. Not completely, you know, there is something you have to adapt, you have to adjust your business to use the software. And if we have these two big companies, we can still identify the uncovered area. That is the area that the software is not supporting. And when we have a problem, when there is a core business not covered by the software your company is using. If you take a look at the Uber or Lyft or maybe Airbnb, they are probably using some ERP in the background, SAP, Oracle, whatever. And if they really tried really hard, they could implement their service through the ERP. They probably could build a mobile app that is using SAP to process orders, but how would it be for end user? Because their core process is like to close the gap between those who need the ride and those who are providing the ride. And here, the user experience is really important. And we have a custom software that is the only way to have your company requirements met completely. But in most times, this is total overhead, because you don't want to build everything from scratch. You should focus on the core processes, on the primary activities, and build your custom software solutions to provide additional value to your business, to support your custom workflow. I'll just briefly talk about the quality, because when I talk about quality, we are not on the same page. Developers mostly think the quality software is one written in DDD, tested 100%. And like IT managers are like, just please make it work. That's quality software for me. And I'll stick to this CISQ like breakdown of quality. First one is reliability. And try to think about enterprise versus custom. When we are thinking about reliability, we are talking about how sure we are that the software won't break, that it will not cause you great downtimes and cost you a lot of money. Efficiency is about how much can you rely that your software will support growth, that you will be able to scale, spawn a new instance in another market. Security. Can software provide me with a lot of risks that are not managed? Can the damage be done to my customers? Can I lose a lot of money? Can I lose personal data? Maintainability. How easily is to transport this solution from one team to another development team? But also how hard is to add new features? And that reflects directly on the size. If you have a lot of code, you have bloated software, it's not really easy to maintain it, to keep adding features, but also to not downgrade any of other. Think about that when you are thinking about custom and enterprise. Because if you're looking for a reliable software, it's probably be the one that is on the market for 20 years. But on the other hand, that is more maintainable. The software that is on the market for 20 years is on the market for 20 years, and it's not using the latest technology. And when we are talking about the quality, we are not just discussing the quality of the vendor, we are also discussing the quality of the implementation and integration. Because bad implementation can downgrade the quality of software, no matter whether it's Microsoft, SAP. If it's bad implementation can ruin it all. And what about testing? When you are testing a software, it's on different levels. You are going like deep down in details. If you are testing a software that is built somewhere else, the best you can do is like do the black box testing. Automate the UI, provide you functional tests, but you cannot write mocks unit tests because it's not the code you know, or maybe you do know, but I don't think the code of any of these enterprise software is really written in a way you can understand what it do to write a unit test. So you are relying on the vendor that he has tested the code, and you are actually just trying to cover your configurations and your customizations with the tests. And let's talk about the usability. Is this enterprise software or consumer software? I think we can all agree that this is like the average user, maybe like now it's maybe better, but not by far. And there's this comic that you can read it on your own. I find it really funny because it's true. People are focusing on the software and architecture, but the UI that is exposed to the user is like written in what? Bootstrap or Microsoft Forms, or we don't care about the UI. And I found this thread on the Y Combinator, and I find it really funny because it said enterprise software is really bad, that bad that there are multi-billion-dollar industries devoted on how to use that software. If you are like Arab consultant, you can thank the bad software solution that you have a job. And it keeps saying that the world's most used database isn't even Oracle, Postgre, MySQL. It's Microsoft Excel. Because enterprise software is so bad that it's easier for end users to export the data and import it into Excel to do like anything, calculations, normalizations, and maybe charting. And that's because people, where they are thinking about the software and on the management level, they are forgetting about the people. And if you are a developer, you shouldn't think about the software as just a form in a way to operate on the data. You should think about the processes. You should think about how the end user is going to use it. Because if the Uber app was made in the create, read, update, delete approach, you'll have like create a new ride, select your driver. You don't see that. You just push a button and somehow something happens in the background, you get your ride. And the funniest part and the most interesting part is about the costs. This is common thought that you building everything from scratch is way more expensive than using an existing solution. And it's true, because there is this guy that spent 6 months and $1,500 to make a sandwich. He built everything from scratch, even the bread, even the ham and the cheese. I don't know how he managed to do it, but he did it. And you know, sandwich is like 100 times cheaper. But on the other side, we have this. Lidl cancels the SAP implementation after 7 years. Okay, we'll get back to this case, but there is no silver bullet. It always depends. And at this point, I'm not sure if the most expensive software is abandoned project or completed and finished implementation that nobody uses. It's really slippery slope there. Let's talk about mission-critical tasks and processes. Many of you can agree with me that you are spending 80% of the time on tasks that provide like 20% of the results. And in another way around, you are like spending 20% of your time that actually brings you a result. And that's okay. And if you compare it to a standardized value chain chart, we can agree that, I think we can agree that there are like supportive activities in a company and there are primary activities. Primary activities are those that make your business better, that make your business successful, and you should focus on those. For those supportive activities, try to find an existing solution that matches the needs. Try to identify important processes and aspects that make your business successful, and if you are a consultant, you should look for those. And then try to find a solution off the shelf that matches perfect. But if you have to radically change your business just to use the software, and I'm talking about the core processes, you shouldn't do it. You should go with for custom solution, because that's innovation. And you shouldn't build a custom solution for any process you could easily outsource. HR, facility, these are supporting activities. Maybe support team in your company. It can be both primary but also secondary activity. Because if you are a company that is only doing support for other companies, over the years you will come up with new ideas, new ways of working the job. And why should you limit yourself by using, I don't know, Jira, Zendesk, whatever, if you have custom ideas, custom workflows? And for every off-the-shelf solution, we have to do something that's called integration, implementation. Usually, you have like multiple services in the company, and you should like connect them together. What you do in most cases, you take off-the-shelf solution for something, apply configuration on it, customize it a bit. But there are some parts of the system that cannot be customized and cannot be built from off-the-shelf solution. For example, mobile app. You would probably go with a custom solution. The same goes for social media. You cannot force the Facebook to adjust their processes and business to you. And there is a middleware. You can call it integration software or whatever you want. And that's my job. I'm writing middleware for shitware. I'm trying to normalize the interfaces, the application interfaces from these radically and dramatically over-bloated software solutions to normalize the API to my mobile developers, because the interface is really bad for the developers. And if you go back to the case, I found this quote that says, if a company wants to use the standard software, it has to adapt to its own processes. And I think this is wrong, because if company wants to standardize the business, wants to comply with the standard, it has to adapt the process, but not because of the software. Software is always a supporting part of the system. It always supports the business, not the other way around. And changing the business just because you want to use some software, it's really wrong decision. And what usually happens is that people end up in this situation, spend a fortune on implementation, and everybody hates it. It doesn't have to be that hard. Think about the people. If you are a social worker in Croatia, you'll have to enter the same data into 9 different systems. How hard is to provide this user with one user interface and to abstract all the thing that is going behind? And let's just get back to the conclusions and to finish this talk. Maybe if there is time, we can jump to Q&A. You should go for custom models, not custom enterprise resource planning software. Think about what is important and cover it with custom modules. Custom solutions can be a great fit with existing off-the-shelf enterprise software. Some of them are really advanced in the field of customization. They can expose really good APIs. They have their own programming languages. And when we are talking about the innovation, I think that on the long run, the custom solution is the only way. But the question is, do I really need it now? And what is the return on the investment if I do it now? Because take a look at the Facebook. They didn't use any existing system, but they are using solutions for the support activities. But the field where they are advanced, they are building their own programming languages, frameworks, and then open sourcing it to us. So if you're trying to be the market leader in something, you should probably have a custom solution and custom workflow. And to conclude it, software is like a suit, always better when tailor-made, but most of the time, you'll be good with a ready-made one. Thank you very much. Do we have time for questions?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Zoran. We have time for Q&A, if everyone has questions.
No.
So obviously you're doing custom software and custom software development, and I know you. So have you ever found in situation where you proposed custom solution just because you didn't know for a good enough platform or existing solution, and later on you realize that you would be able to solve that with existing solution?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it works. Yeah, I understand the question. I personally haven't been in this situation because when I see that I don't know the market about what are the top of the shelf solutions, I just say it that way. Have you considered the off-the-shelf solutions? Have you analyzed it? I can help you to write requirements for your workflow because I'm working as an analyst also, but I cannot tell you that custom solution will be better than the SAP in this case, but I can say that these are the requirements for your current workflow, and it's up to client to decide whether he wants to introduce this other software.
More questions?
It's all right, you'll be able to hear me.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee it. I really love the quote about the custom software being so bad that their entire consulting companies.
Enterprise software being bad.
Right, enterprise software companies. Has it occurred to anybody that enterprise software companies are bad because those consulting companies are the ones building the enterprise software?
Yeah, I know, it's from Y Combinator. I would say that the guilt falls on both of them.
Yeah.
And the end user is suffering when you pull the line.
Could you maybe shine some light on the precursor to that problem? The aspects of design. What are we doing wrong? It's to you.
From my perspective, enterprise software companies are trying to kill way too many birds with one configurable stone, because they're trying to make everything configurable, everything like you can just turn it on, turn it off, configure feature flags, and like cover all these cases with one solution. And you know, you can write it in code, but it's really hard to implement in the UI layer, in the interface layer, to be that configurable.
Okay, so if that's all, we're gonna take a 15-minute break. We're just gonna break through this wall so we make space for our closing keynote. I hope you'll use the time for some networking, more beer, arcade games and everything, and I hope you'll stay with us until the show. At last we have the after party with Lenovo to win some great prizes. Thank you.